Hey there, we're back. Okay, I hope that was a good group experience for you. For those of you who did who are doing this for accreditation and are doing the triad groups with a facilitator, or if you're somehow doing it on your own, that's wonderful. So what we're going to do next is we're going to look at the proper IV tool. Actually, before we do that, I want to have you turn to Appendix 1 of the book. I'm just going to... We're going to be on page 25 for the proper IV tool, but the Appendix 1, page 197. So it's a page that looks like this. And this is kind of a blueprint of how most coaching, like the coaching workflow, tends to progress. Again, it's, you don't have to do it this way, and sometimes it won't happen this way. It wouldn't be appropriate. But this is kind of a general idea of how your coaching relationship is going to progress. So there's some things on the left there where it says under every meeting, you see right at the top is proper IV. So every meeting, and with every tool, everything that we do is going to be delivered in a proper IV format, and you'll see what that means in a little bit here. But so you're always doing proper IV no matter what else you're doing with the client. You're always building and maintaining rapport. You're always demonstrating empathy and unconditional positive regard. You're not fixing. You're thinking about stages of change. You haven't learned that yet. That's okay. But basically, different clients are going to be in different phases of a change process. Eliciting change talk. Again, we'll talk about that later. Heightened discrepancy between values or goals and current behavior. That's another motivational interviewing thing we'll talk about later. Be genuine. Be congruent. Validate God-given needs without validating non-biblical strategies. We'll talk about that yet. Balance of acceptance and call to change. We need to talk about that yet. Pray as led. You probably get that. Set goals and review progress. Okay, so those are the skills that you're going to do at every meeting, no matter who the client or what they're presenting with. Okay. Your first task then, and then you'll start to do this in the first meeting, is to understand the client's goals and their challenges. Okay, so this is the first meeting. You're going to proper IV them. Again, we'll go over that in a minute. And you're really going to deepen that connection, get to know them, get to understand, let them tell their story to you about what they're struggling with, what some of their goals are. You're just connecting. And they should leave that meeting feeling like they have an ally, they have somebody who's on their side, and maybe some hope that, whatever they've been working on unsuccessfully alone, that could change, now that they have a coach. So that's the first meeting. Oh, and then you're making sure that the contract is signed. We actually, at our practice here at the Forward Foundation, we send them intake forms through our, we have a tool that we use that sends them intake forms securely. They fill them out, send them back to their client portal, and we take care of that prior to even the first meeting. But you want to make sure that they understand the parameters of the relationship and that they've signed off on it. Also, you're wanting to get a sense of what phase of change they're in, but again, you'll get to that in a little bit. Second task is you're going to gather a history. So this is where you kind of take a step back from the struggle, the challenge, the goal, and you get kind of a 30,000-foot view of their life. We will talk about the history-taking process in a future session here, so don't worry about that. But even if the goal is very concrete and present and future oriented, understanding their history, like even if it does, a lot of times you go into the history and whatever you thought the goal was, it changes, it gets bigger. Knowing the context really kind of makes a difference in how you approach the goal. But sometimes it's very straightforward and simple. But at least when you've gathered the history, you will really get to know your client on a deep level. In some cases, you may get to know them deeper than anybody in their life knows them. And that only is going to help, you know, again, with that trust and rapport building that tends to make coaching successful. So you might take a session, maybe two, maybe even more, depending on the situation, to gather a history. The third task is reassess goals and challenges in light of history. So this may be a meeting, it may be just a part of the history meeting, but you want to make sure you're not forcing any kind of an interpretation. So, you know, you don't want to say like, oh, well, you know, you had trust issues with your parents and that's why you're having a hard time trusting your boss. If the client isn't seeing it, don't try and force it. Hold all your interpretations with an open hand. They're kind of like a hypothesis. It's like an educated guess about what might be going on with your client. But, you know, again, just don't force it. It'll breach the relationship and damage your trust and rapport, and you definitely don't want to do that. There's a tool there that's referenced called the Letter from the Lord. We'll talk about that in future sessions. But then task 4, once you understand the presenting problem, you understand the history, you've tweaked the goals in light of the history, now you're ready to make a coaching plan with your client where you're looking at these 4 areas on the bottom of the appendix there, of the life care process flowchart. You're looking at in each of these square or rectangles here, there's a bunch of different tools that are referenced, and you don't know many of them yet, but you will. You'll know all this whole sheet by the end. But you're looking at, okay, is there a relational issue here that needs to be addressed? Is there something in their thought life that needs to be addressed? Is there something in their emotional life that needs to be addressed? Or is there something in their behavioral life that needs to be addressed? Or a little of each, you know, all of the above. And that's often the case. So depending upon what the issue is and what part of their life they are wanting to address, that will tell you which tools you're going to use to help them get to where they want to go, okay? So this hopefully gives you a high-level overview of how the relationship is meant to evolve and progress over time, and how you're going to wind up plugging in the different tools that you're using or that you're learning in these coaching sessions, okay? Okay, so now that we've covered that, let's go back to proper IV, which you can see there on the left in the rectangle. You're going to be using proper IV in every single meeting. You're going to start using it in your normal conversations. You're going to use, by normal I mean your non-coaching conversations. It's just a effective way to talk to people, and it really helps the relationship. Yeah, you're gonna use it a lot. So let's get into proper IV. Proper IV in our next video. I will see you there.